Zinnias may be one of the most popular annual flowers to add to your garden, and there is a good reason for that. Not only are they such beautiful flowers, but the pollinators love them, bees, butterflies, and sometimes even hummingbirds. And I have to say that I am totally on the zinnia train. I love growing them, and there have been a couple years where I didn't grow very many and didn't have them in my garden, and I felt it. It just was missing something, the beauty, the color, the size of these blooms. So I made sure that this year that I have as many zinnias as I can possibly have, and I am going to show you how you can grow these from seed, how you can get the most amount of blooms from them, and then how to take care of them all summer long, including how to bring them into your house as bouquets. So if this is something that interests you, make sure that you stick around. If you're new here, my name is Bree from Urban Gardening Canada, and I garden in Ottawa Zone 5. I have a favorite variety, although there are many out there. For me, the Benary's Giant is my absolute favorite. I learned about these from Serena at You Can't Eat the Grass. She grows them because she was making flower bouquets for a flower farm, and the Benary's are the perfect ones to add to bouquets because the blooms are just really large and they have amazing vase life. So these were the original zinnias that I've been growing, other than I grew one called Raggedy Ann, and that one wasn't for me. But it just shows just how many varieties exist out there. There are blooms that are really small, others that look like pom-pom balls, the Benary's, which are just huge ones, and then there is the Cinderella series now that's coming out, and the Queenies, which has a very antique look to them. If you are a follower of Florette Flowers, then she is a zinnia breeder. So there are all kinds of flowers that you can get from her, but those seeds are really expensive because obviously there takes a lot of time and energy to breed zinnias. But there's just such a wide range that you can find anything that you're looking for. In fact, zinnias, I feel like, is one of those flowers that you can actually plant the entire rainbow of colors and get it. They honestly have reds, oranges, yellows, greens. One of my favorite, I'm actually growing a couple lime ones here. There's purples. I don't know if there's actually blue, although there might be some on the market now, and there's even white ones. So you really can get the full range of colors with these. Now, when it comes to sowing them from seed, you only want to sow them about 4 to 6 weeks before your last frost date because zinnias are a heat-loving flower. So it has to be hot out when you're going to plant them out. You cannot put them out before your last frost date. They thrive in sunshine and heat. So you do want to make sure that you don't start them too early because you can see that they get quite large inside, and you don't want to make them become too large. You don't want them to be root bound because if they get root bound, they'll start to create blooms, and you really don't want that until they get outside. When you are planting the seeds, you want to make sure that you are planting them about 2 times the depth of the size of the seed. So if the seed is a centimeter in size, you want to plant it 2 centimeters deep. And then because they are such heat-loving flowers, growing them with a humidity dome on and a heat mat is really going to speed up that germination. Mine germinated in 2 days. It felt like a record how fast they came up. But if you don't have a heat mat or a humidity dome, it'll take about a week for these ones to germinate. Now, it's actually really difficult to save zinnia seeds if you don't know what you're doing. So make sure that when you are buying your zinnia seeds, you get them from someone that is a reputable seed supplier. If you get them in a seed swap, there's a good chance that the seeds won't be viable, or very few will. You can also save your own seeds, but again, if you don't know what you're doing, there's a good chance that the seeds aren't viable. So if you are using seed swap seeds or gifted seeds, or you're trying to grow your own, you will want to plant probably double how many you want just to make up for that germination rate. But if you are buying them from a reputable seed supplier, they will give you the germination rate on the package. Guys, the sun just came out and I cannot live without sunglasses, so we're finishing this off with sunglasses on. All right, so here we have our seedlings that have grown, and I'm gonna show you guys how to get more blooms because when it comes to zinnias, it's really important that you pinch your zinnias in order to promote branching, because the more branches, the more blooms you have. And of course, because I'm growing the Benary's variety, these have way bigger leaves on them than some of the other zinnias do. So for example, this one is called Lime Splotch, and you can see the size difference between the leaves on the one that's in a single pot and this one in the 6-pack. This one is slightly bigger than this one is, and that's because this variety is just going to be a larger plant in order to support larger blooms. When your seedling gets to about this size, and so this is your seed leaves, so you have 1, 2, 3, 3 and the 4th set here of true leaves, this is about the time that you want to be pinching them in order to promote more blooms. So you have 2 options with this one. I can pinch this section here and just leave 2 sets of true leaves here. Because there is a little bit of stem here, it does make pinching a lot easier where the branches can come out. Or your other option is you can just pinch off these small set of leaves here, and it is still going to promote branching. But for this one, I am going to go down to where the stem is. So it's going to have 2 sets of true leaves left, and I'm pinching off the top one. And it's going to feel really stressful and scary if you've never pinched before in your life, but don't worry, this is going to work. So here I've now pinched this off, and there's a little bit of stem left, and they're going to start branching off right beside the stem here. And what you're doing is you're taking away the main stem, and if this plant wants to live, which it does, it's going to force it to start creating new branches on there in order to continue growing. You don't want to do it too early where you're going to set the plant back or stress it out. But you don't want to leave too many sets of true leaves, because then you're going to have one main stem and then it's going to start branching really high up on your plant. The goal is to have the branching start lower down on the plant, so that way the main stem isn't too high up being single and strong, and also it's going to start promoting branching earlier on, which means that you're going to get that many more branches. So I'm just going to do it on a couple of these ones here, just so that way you can see that it's not that bad and not that scary. And that's it. And then you can just put these in your compost bin.
As an example, when you don't pinch it, it's quite literally one stem, and then it finally separated up here on its own. But that's actually, you would have normally gotten 2 stems off of it had you pinched it. And then just one goofy flower. That's what you get when you don't pinch. So here, lighting is terrible, but here is an example of it being pinched, and now you have 2 separate ones growing off of it.
Now that they're pinched, you can allow them to keep growing inside until it's time to bring them out. You do need to harden these plants off the same way you would harden off any of your other heat-loving plants, which means only bring them out when the temperatures are above 10 degrees Celsius. Start them in the shade and slowly move them into the sunshine, and do all of your typical steps, because zinnias can also get sunburn the way that tomatoes do. So you do want to take it slow and not overwhelm your zinnia plants too quickly. When the time does come to plant them out, make sure that your temperatures are above that 10 degrees Celsius mark. That means your nighttime temperatures. So regularly for the last week before you've planted it out, you do want to make sure that you are getting that 7-day or 14-day forecast that is showing nice warm nights, because they really, really want that heat, and they are sensitive to frost. So you want to make sure that you don't get any cold nights or any frost, or else you're risking having your plants dying. So I plant with the square foot garden method with my vegetables, and when I lived in my last house, I had an entire garden dedicated to flowers, specifically for cut flowers, and I was never really able to find the planting distance for anyone if they are growing square foot or intensely growing flowers, if they wanted to use them for a cut purpose. So the spacing will really depend on how you want to use your zinnias. If you're growing them to just disperse them around your garden to make for a nice bright coloring, then you can literally put them anywhere you want in your garden as long as you have good sunshine. But if you are planting them in a more intense way because you really want to get them for cut flowers, then you can really plant 1 per square foot, and sometimes you can kind of push the limits a little bit on that one. The taller they get and the more branching they get, of course, it's going to take up a lot more space, but they aren't going to take up a huge amount of space the way that a Cosmo does. If you've ever grown Cosmos before and given them ample space, they can get quite large, but the zinnias tend to stay a lot more compact. So 1 per square foot is a really good distance. But if you're just growing them in your garden to give off some nice color, then you don't have to worry too much about your spacing. You can space them really far apart or within that 1 foot of each other. Certain varieties also grow a lot shorter than other ones do. The Benaries can grow 2 to 3 feet depending on if you let them. If you have them intensely planted, then they get even taller. The Raggedy Anns that I was growing and the Benaries, when I had them in intense planting, could grow up to 2 to 3 feet if I allowed them to, but otherwise they can stay quite low if you give them space. So you do want to check with which variety you're growing to figure out how tall they grow, to make sure that you plant them in the right space, that they don't get covered up by a taller plant or that they aren't covering up any of your your other garden plants. When it comes to caring for your zinnia plants out in the garden, they aren't incredibly thirsty plants, but of course they do like to have water. So you don't have to worry about watering them a ton compared to some of your other plants. They can handle a little bit of a drought. We had a drought here last year and my zinnias still bloomed quite nicely. The biggest things that you need to remember is just that they love sunshine and heat. When you are watering your zinnias, you do want to make sure that you're not hitting the blooms or the leaves with the water. And it's better to water them in the morning than it is in the evening. And that's because the leaves are susceptible to things like powdery mildew. So by choosing to water in the morning and allowing the leaves to dry out if they do get hit with water means that you're going to help prevent this disease later on. So the reason that I love to grow zinnias is specifically for bouquets. I just love to see them inside my house, all the beautiful colors. They do have such a great vase life. So this is the main reason why I like to grow zinnias. Of course, having them for pollinators like the bees and butterflies is another great benefit as well. And I do have an article on my website on how to grow zinnias. So if you do want to use that as a resource instead of rewatching this video, I will leave a link to that below. And I have other articles on my website that talk about the different flowers that do really great in bouquets. So if you're hoping to grow a cut flower garden this year, my website has a lot of resources to help you with all the different annual and perennial flowers and all of the little tricks like not mixing daffodils with other flowers until the water runs clear because they will kill other flowers, as well as how to know when it's the perfect time to be cutting zinnias for bouquets. All of that can be found on my website, which is a great resource for both flower and vegetable growers. So I will leave a link for all of those for you below. But when it comes to zinnias, you'll know the best time to cut them for vases is when you take the stem, if there was a bloom on here, and you shake it. And if the bloom doesn't even move at all, as if it's on a wooden stick, that is the perfect time to be cutting them for your bouquets. Some other flowers like peonies, you don't want the flower to be open yet. Tulips, you don't want the bloom to be open yet. But with zinnias, having the bloom open is the right time to be harvesting them, and especially when that stem is nice and straight and not flexible at all. Growing multiple varieties like the Benneries and some of the smaller ones means that you can mix and match the sizes in your bouquet, which gives you some variety when it comes to the bloom size, making it a lot more enjoyable. And the other thing that I like about them is that because they come in green blooms or white blooms, sometimes those are harder ones to find to add to a bouquet. So they add a lot of interest if you have a green flower in your flower arrangement, or adding whites. Whites always helps break up that color scheme. So having even white zinnias can help with that. So because they have such a wide selection of colors, it means that you can really mix and match and play with your flower arrangements. So one of the most common pests for zinnias are Japanese beetles, which is no surprise since they like over 300 different types of plants. They don't really damage the flowers too much, but they will eat the leaves, which for me is okay because if I am bringing them inside, I'm going to pull all the leaves off the stem anyways, but they will sometimes ruin the blooms. Another common one is earwigs. Earwigs like to hide in between the petals of a zinnia. So what I like to do if I'm bringing them indoors is when I cut the stem and pull off all the leaves, I'll give it a shake on its side or sometimes upside down, and I'll rotate the flower around and give it a shake, just so that way that if there's any of the beetles or earwigs sitting in between those petals, it helps shake them out and they fall out so you're not bringing them inside the house. If you're leaving your flowers outside to bloom and you don't plan on bringing them in, the earwigs don't really cause a lot of damage to the blooms, but the Japanese beetles can a little bit. Overall, I would just pick the Japanese beetles off purely because they are an invasive insect, and the more of the adults that exist, then the more they can procreate and cause more damage in future years. But otherwise, they're not that big of a deal when it comes to your flowers. What does love them are bees though, and it's very common to find bees sleeping underneath the petals of your zinnias. It's a very common place for bees to spend the night, and this is why it's so important to not use chemicals in your garden. So maybe your first instinct would be to spray your zinnias with something to keep the earwigs or the Japanese beetles off. But with those sleeping bees, if you're not looking under the blooms or looking under the leaves, you might not notice them. And if you spray something on them, you could actually be killing your pollinators as well. So I really recommend just hand picking any of the insects off of your blooms and otherwise leaving them alone without any chemicals, and just enjoy the really cute bees that are sleeping underneath the blooms. When it comes to actual diseases, powdery mildew is the most common of them. And what you want to do to avoid this is to not plant them too tight together where there can't be any airflow, or if you are planting them tighter together, just pruning the leaves off to be able to allow more airflow to come through there. And again, not watering your plants from above, because when the leaves are wet and stay wet, especially overnight, this is really going to help lead to powdery mildew problems. So just keeping your plants pruned, spaced well, and watering at the base in the morning is going to help prevent it. It is common for powdery mildew to come in the later season, but it's really not a huge deal because it's later in the season. It might look a little ugly for a little while, but they're going to die anyways since they are annual flowers, so it's not too big of an issue. All right, so when it comes to saving zinnia seeds, I mentioned this earlier in the video, and it's actually quite complicated. So every single petal on the flower can turn into a seed. So as you let the seed heads dry out, you can pull the petals off. You'll notice that there is a spear-shaped seed at the end of the petal, but they all have to be pollinated in order for them to be viable seeds. So there is a portion of the head of the plant that can be unpollinated, partially pollinated, or fully pollinated. I do find zinnias of all the flowers to be one of the most complicated ones to save seeds from and to understand when the seeds are viable. So I don't want to go into it in too much detail because I'm just not an expert at this, but all I want you to know is that it's not that easy to save seeds from them. So this is something that you want to look into further, but otherwise you can save seeds from them. Your option is to just save all of the petals off of your bloom and then plant all of them and see how many germinate, because there's going to be a few that are viable. So it's really up to you how you want to go about doing it. I've never actually saved any, well, I've saved seeds from one of my zinnias once and then never planted it, but maybe I'll try this year and just do that concept where I'll plant a boatload of them and see how many come up. Because of course zinnias can get really expensive. So if you have a variety that you really enjoy, learning how to save seeds from it is important in order to continue growing what you like and saving a little bit of money. But otherwise, I'm really excited for these to turn into blooms later this season. I honestly can't wait. And I will be bringing mine inside for flowers if you haven't already figured that one out. But otherwise, I do hope that you found this video helpful in order to be able to grow your own zinnias. If you did find this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and check out this video here. Bye.